Good evening and welcome to Season 5, Episode 3 of Leaders in Action. Tonight, we will discuss another leadership trait that has enabled many organizations withstand and overcome the headwinds they face constantly. And this trait is resilience. Events of the last 2 years, and including today, have caused downgrades and closures of many businesses. And yet, there are those who have demonstrated their agility, ability to bounce back, adapt, and thrive in the harshest of conditions. When there is less stability and more of unpredictability, resilience is one of the leadership traits most needed. But what does resilience comprise? Why are some people more resilient than others? And how does one get to possess it? How does it impact the organization and its people? We will try to answer these questions and many more in tonight's session.
Magandang gabi sa inyong lahat. We hope that you are all doing well and that you are all able to rise above your own set of challenges. But if you still need additional ideas, this evening's episode will provide some more insights into how leaders can skillfully turn a problem into an opportunity. But before we dive straight into our episode, many thanks again to our special guest last week, Coach Mariel Tablan, for sharing with us how her malasakit has empowered her team to overcome the disruptions of the pandemic. Muli, maraming salamat, Coach Mariel. Now, tonight we do real talk with a leader who does not allow any obstacle to stop his progress and who sees hurdles as occasions to find better solutions. In fact, Mr. IB, his LJMB consulting firm was awarded by the Philippine Society of Training and Development, or PSTD, as the 2021 Outsourced Learning and Developing Organization of the Year. So congratulations. No, so ladies and gentlemen, dear leaders, I am so excited to introduce to you our special guest sharer, an award-winning master trainer and LinkedIn's top leader for resilience. Let's call in Mr. Louie Banta.
It's an honor to be here in Leaders in Action.
Hello, Louie. Good afternoon and welcome to Leaders in Action. Thank you again for accepting our invitation.
It's my honor to be here, and I'm glad to receive an invite. So I immediately said yes. No, when I received your
Salamat.
Salamat, Louie, and it's really nice to see you again. It's been quite a while. And humahabol ka na yata sa akin sa puting buhok ha? Pero clearly you're much younger than I am. So again, welcome and thank you for joining us tonight. No? But before we go straight to our topic, Louie, siguro what we can request you to do is please share a bit about yourself and your organization.
Again, my name is Louie Banta po at your service. For those who are watching this episode, you may see a resemblance with Ogie Alcacid, no? And just always want to say that because people will see the resemblance and later on ask me. Louie Banta is a 30-year-old training professional. I started working September 1, 1992, and kahapon, September 1, I celebrated my 30th year in the industry. I put up my company in 2005. We are now 17 years old in providing soft skills training to various organizations. And this has always been my passion and has now turned to be a mission and advocacy, training people, training leaders to always become better versions of themselves.
Well, again, thank you for the work that you do. No, an experience namin yan ni Jay when you were still very active in the insurance industry, and truly, you've helped develop a lot of people. Na-mention ni Jay that you're a awardee for the LinkedIn Top 13 leaders now. How long have you been part of the LinkedIn community, Louis? And based on your experience, how does that membership help you in your activities and business?
I've been in LinkedIn since 2009, but during that time, the mindset is you go to LinkedIn only to hire or get hired. Uh, if you want to connect and network so that you can explore opportunities. And that has been my mindset since 2009 up to the pandemic. So ito nga po yung magandang istorya, isang magandang nadulot sa atin ng pandemya nung nawalan tayo ng projects, no? Because companies postponed their training courses. We were looking for a venue to sell. And we explored social media. I went to LinkedIn and I realized na bawal o ayaw ng LinkedIn community ng mga sellers. No? You don't go to LinkedIn and sell. You go and add value, so to speak. No? So I started sharing my experiences in training, in leadership, my company during the crisis. And since 2020, it only started in 2020. In 2 years of doing that, a lot of the members of the LinkedIn community in the Philippines and worldwide appreciated our daily sharing of value. Kaya naman po, naging member din tayo ng top 100 Filipinos to follow on LinkedIn for 2 straight years. And this inaugural nga na Philippines top 30 leaders on LinkedIn. That's how it started.
Again, congratulations, and clearly it has been helping you a lot, not just in creating network, but also extending the services that you do. No? Now, nasabi rin kanina ni Jay na marami ka ng mga awards na natanggap, no, for the work that you do. Question is, what makes this recent award of yours, yung top 30, as equally meaningful, or if not meaningful, nung natanggap mo?
You mentioned na-mention ni Jay kanina yung sa Philippine Society for Training and Development last year, and then this year nasundan naman po nitong top leader on resiliency. And both awards were really because of how we responded during the pandemic, no? Ang joke ko nga, sinishare ko sa mga workshops ko, kung hindi pa nagka-pandemya, hindi kami maa-awardan. hindi magkakaroon ng pagkakataon that we can showcase the resiliency. And sir, in the IB&J, both awards were really because of resiliency. The Society of Training in the Philippines acknowledged we were one of the first movers to digital learning. And because of my leadership of the team, ito na nga po yung sumunod, no? Yung Philippines Top 30 on LinkedIn.
Again, congratulations, Jay.
Louis, you mentioned earlier, no, na talagang during the height of the pandemic, one of the most affected industries is really the training, no, and consulting, no, because talagang almost in all companies medyo talagang napunta sa bottom, no, ng priority list ang training. If not, talagang totally na-scrap yung yung budget because also of the lockdowns and yung mga quarantines left and right. So, Louis, balikan lang natin. How badly affected ba ang industriya, especially during the early days of the pandemic?
Zero sales when the lockdown happened. Because we are in the business of outsourced training. Companies get us to train in their training rooms or be with their management teams in offsite gatherings or in hotels. And because hotels are closed, employees were working from home. And when the lockdown happened, because the pandemic is a new experience, it was really a life-changing and transformative experience. Nobody had the secret formula or the playbook to address it. Kaya ang priority, wala ang training sa top priorities. Ang priority ng kumpanya, survival, BCP, how do we enable our employees to work from home? You remember that, no? Magsesend ba ng laptop o desktop? Tapos how do we manage people whom we do not see? So we acknowledge that training is not a priority during that time. In fact, 1 week before the announcement of the lockdown in the Philippines, no, tandang-tanda ko pa po yung mga pangyayari dyan. No? Talagang sobrang sobrang kinabahan ako as a business owner and entrepreneur. I had 20 people when the pandemic hit us. Nagba-back outan yung mga projects a week before President Duterte announced it. No? You know, the trigger event in Metro Manila was when the BGC-based employee, there's news that a BGC-based employee contracted the virus. That was the Saturday before the lockdown. That following week, that weekend alone, a lot of clients were already messaging me, postpone muna tayo. Okay, indefinitely postpone muna tayo. Tapos nag-lockdown na nga ng March 16. And yeah, we understood that training is not at the top of the priorities of organizations. No? It was really badly hit. It took us 2 months, 2-3 months to get another sale. So for 2-3 months, zero sale talaga. But that sales was about 20-30% of our usual monthly. It took until September, so 6 months before sufficient business really came back. So imagine mo kung ikaw ay owner ng isang small training company like me, 6 na buwang walang kita yung kumpanya. It was really tough, no? So I can also empathize with those in the same boat, same state.
So Louie, during that 6 months na talagang no business at all coming in, what were your fears?
Ang masarap ikwento yung unang 2 linggo, syempre wala pang Zoom noon, hindi pa natin alam sila MS Teams, no? We started using Google Meet, and I would appear every morning in my team huddles. And people will ask, "Sir, anong mangyayari? Mawawalan ba kami ng trabaho? Baka magkasakit kami, no, etc., etc." And you know, you always have to be that face and voice who will say, "We will find a way. We don't know what the solution is. For the meantime, just stay safe, stay at home." Ganun ako sa umaga. Pero sa gabi, madalas ko na ikwento sa workshop to, sa gabi, I found myself binge watching just to make myself really tired and sleepy. I would start watching from 10 in the evening. Nasa Netflix na ako niyan hanggang 2:00, 3:00. Kung makakatulog ka na lang sa sopa sa sobrang pagod, because yung panonood ko na yon, it became an outlet for me to forget, no, a lot of the problems, no, as a business owner na saan ako kukuha ng pangsweldo, pambayad ng opisina. And it went on for 2 weeks.
Okay.
And I did not know, ako po yung Generation X, no? Kaya nung generation ko, wala namang kaming masyadong ginagamit na terms dyan eh. Yung pala anxiety and depression na yon. No?
Nagsaset-in na.
Oo, no? So, nung magkakasakit na ako at masama na pakiramdam ko sa sobrang puyat, sabi ko, I have to get out of this state and I have to do something. I know it's because I feel hopeless and helpless, and it's not just me, it's the entire world, no? And I was looking for what to do. I had 19 people who's asking me, what do we do? Nag-reach out ako sa competitors ko, mga friends ko are also operating similar training companies. Ang sagot nila, nung iba sa kanila, we'll wait for the lockdown to be lifted. Ang promise ng gobyerno, April 13. So I still remember the dates, no? Pero following the internet articles, no, from different parts of the world, there were predictions and projections that this is a 2-3 year journey. Sabi ko, hindi ko maiintay yun. I had to do something. Alam niyo po, divine providence, God's intervention, I received an email of an American speaker inviting me to a webinar. Sabi ko, webinar? I haven't done a webinar in 27 years of speaking. At sa Pilipinas, medyo hindi rin tayo, hindi natin pinapansin ng webinar kasi gusto natin face-to-face. So on March 27, 11 days after the lockdown, sumubok ako, naglakas loob ako mag-post sa Facebook ko. Buhay pa yung screenshot eh. May a-attend ba kung magbibigay ako ng free webinar on the following topics? ABC, resiliency, Number two, how to lead your teams who are working from home, how to sell working from home. There were the overwhelming response of people tagging, bawat comment, tagging tens and 20 of their fellow leaders and employees. The confidence was suddenly revived. Alam niyo po, Biyernes yung post na yon, Sabado, Linggo, sabi ko sa team ko, let's make this happen. Thankfully to my team, nobody even said wala akong alam dyan. It's outside of their job description. March 27, I made that post. On April 1, I was doing my first webinar when webinars were largely unheard of or ignored in the Philippine setting.
Yeah.
So nung nangyari po yun, tuloy-tuloy na. Sabi ko, ito ang kailangan, libre. Dahil walang gustong magbayad ng webinars during that time.
Yeah.
Alam niyo po, natapos yung panonood ko ng Netflix. Instead of staying stuck with my anxiety and depression, I challenged it to, we will run 4 webinars every day for free to companies who request it. That was the light at the end of the tunnel during that time.
So parang yun ang naging turning point mo, Louie, no, and for the team. Oo. Now, after doing all those free webinars, how did you slowly reintroduce, no, yung training sa mga organizations na ito na, yun talaga mag-i-invest na ulit sila sa training and they will do training already as a priority, no, para sa mga tao nila?
Alam niyo naman po ang mga decision makers di ba? Ang decision makers, sila yung magsasabing, let's resume training and development, no? So what I did is in the free webinars that we have been offering, we made it a point to invite decision makers.
Okay.
So I would talk to management teams, no, do you want us to do a webinar? And I know that even if they said yes, they still wanted to see if it will match the impact or effectiveness of the face-to-face. No?
Face-to-face, okay.
So it was the acid test. Sabi ko, kapag na-showcase natin sa kanila, if we're able to demonstrate na definitely virtual will not be better than face-to-face. I believe nothing beats face-to-face interaction. Pero Sir Ivy, Jay, during that time of the lockdown, mas kailangan nga ng empleyado ng training Training on mental wellness, training on resiliency, how do I collaborate with people whom I do not see. So April and May, puro libre. Nung June, nagkakaroon na kami, bumabalik na yung mga requests, no? I would invite a GM, a president, an HR VP, and it will always start like, let's try it, o mag-pilot muna tayo. Right? So the June, July, and August, no, was really good because we're able to convince more and more people with the demonstrations that we've done.
Okay, good. No? And by today, Louie, is it safe to say na unti-unti ay bumabalik na talaga yung rhythm in terms of mga outsourcing of training and consultancy jobs?
Quarter 4 of 2020, bumalik na siya. 2021 was also a record year for us, no? And from 20 people down to organic 4 people ng 2021, sabi nga namin, we were achieving 80% of our results nung 20 people tayo ng 4 lang, no? So truly, the resiliency is also all about converting crisis into opportunities. Ngayon 2020, ang kalaban lang naman natin ay yung mga surge, no? Pag nagsa-surge nung Omicron noong January, nag-surge lang tayo ng July and August. Pag ganyan, for sure bababa na ang demand ng mga 2 to 3 weeks kasi may sakit yung participants, nagkasakit din yung trainer, nagkaroon din ako ng Omicron noong January.
Naapektuhan ka rin pala, kasakit ka rin.
Pero ano rin, bumalik na talaga, and companies really realize with the new realities, with the hybrid work reality, employees need to be equipped better.
Okay, good. No? So I think ang isang makukuha natin, take away natin dyan is whether you're in a crisis or not, people development, no, is always going to be a critical, no, part of any organization. So thank you for sharing that to us, Louis.
Louis, it's nice that you mentioned a lot about resilience, no? In your own words, ano ba talagang ibig sabihin ng resilience? So ano masasabi mo na ang isang tao talaga is a resilient person?
Number one, Sir IB, yung pag may nangyaring untoward incident, when something hits you, you're able to absorb the impact.
Hmm.
That's the first test. You're able to absorb it. And number two is being able to bounce back at the soonest possible time. For me, that is the most basic definition of resiliency. When something happens to people, do you whine and complain? Or do you, do you experience the hardship, but you channel your mindset, you channel yourself to something productive. That's the first thing. And then the second one also involves problem solving, kasi hindi lang naman mindset. Kailangan
Yeah.
meron kang gawing concrete solution. So that's also part of resilience.
Yung maganda yung sinabi mong observe, no? Kasi yung isang ibang tao kapag medyo may problema, wala na, buho na yung ano no? Parang wala nang energy. What can help somebody to absorb yung initial shock nung problema? Ano nakatulong sa'yo?
Nakatulong sa akin, sir, yung talagang pagbabasa ko during that time of the pandemic. Again, because we wanted to offer webinars on resilience, I needed to brush up on the resilience literature, no? So I came across an article in Harvard Business Review. Ang title niya, 5 Ways to Frame Crisis. I added my own thoughts. It became 8 ways to frame crisis. Okay? So something happens to you, the first thing that you activate is the mindset. How do you perceive it? No? Just to quickly run down on that for the benefit of our viewers, may nangyari sa'yo, ang unang possible frame is faith. Okay? What is God telling or teaching me using this? So you don't get bitter. Why did this happen to me? So you focus on, is this God speaking to me? And what is his key message to me? Nandiyan din po yung framing ng learning. Di ba? Kung hindi ka naman religious or spiritual na person, ako ay training person, laging ang tinatanong ko, ano kayo matututunan ko dito sa nangyayaring to? Nandiyan din yung usual na opportunity. Sabi natin, the way that the Chinese write crisis are 2 letters na in every danger, there is an opportunity. So pag ganito mo finiframe ang crisis, okay, pandemic is scary, no? I don't know what to do, but I will find a way so that I can convert it, no? Ano pa po ba yung isa? Yung iba na hero, yung mga mahilig manood sa inyo ng kay novela o kaya mga movies. Yung nakikita mo yung sarili mo na, okay, what's happening to me is just part of reality TV. It's a movie. But how can I become a hero of my life and take control of what happens to me? No? Yun yung 4 dun sa 8 na frames. Nakatulong sa akin yun, sir. So I would teach that every time and again in the webinars because the crisis is in front of you. How do you see it, how you view it is always the first step. And it determines how you will react to it. Pag dito pa lang natalo ka na, bibigay din yung reaction mo sa crisis.
The mental part is very crucial, no? How you, sabi mo nga, how you frame the situation will help you, no? Now, bouncing back naman, what one thing that help you, parang punching bag, pag sinuntok mo, gumaganon di ba? So, what helps you, kumbaga, bounce back soonest?
Problem-solving skills are very important and decision-making. It's nothing new. We've been teaching leaders in our organizations problem-solving and decision-making. It became more important during the time of the pandemic because it's time-sensitive. Right? Ano po yung, ba't ko sinasabing time-sensitive? Pag hindi ka umaksyon, may mga taong mamamatay, may mga empleyado mong magkakasakit, no? Pag hindi ka umaksyon, you will not be able to seize the window of opportunity. it was still a highly competitive world during the pandemic eh. For some businesses, no, they even thrived, no, kahit po pandemic. So I'll go back to, as a leader, how are you able to spot solutions? How good are you in involving people around you? Because you're not the only one who should be thinking. How good are you in involving your people around you, resources around you, in finding the right way to do? Nung time na yon, Sir Ivy, hindi naman namin alam na kung ano mangyayari 1 year, 2 years from now. We just
Correct.
wanted to, let's try it. Mag-webinar tayo. Try natin kung ano response. We were listening to the feedback. We were tweaking it. From 1-hour webinars, nag-develop na kami ng mga 2-3 hour courses. Iba yun kasi how do you do the activities that we do in person? You would remember the face-to-face. So we invented our new virtual activities, no? And then nag-offer ako ng blended learning. Ano po yung blended learning? Sir, alam mo ba, wala na akong lecture sa mga virtual classes ko ngayon. Nanonood sila ng video. They watch my videos, video
Correct.
lectures before. So when we go to class, we have lots to talk about. It becomes a very interactive. I don't bore them to death with lectures. No? So innovation, doing different things, no? Embracing change is also important. These things are not new. Webinars have been there for the longest time. Yung blended learning, ginagawa na yun sa Europe at US. Pero sa Pilipinas, bagong-bago, yung mindset na there's nothing wrong if we try it, let's try it, let's tweak it, test it. Sabi ko nga 3 T's eh. Try, test, tweak. Try, test, tweak. Try, test, tweak. Kung gusto mo makabounce off
As
agad,
you
sir,
have proven.
be free.
Tama. So the way I see it, sabi mo, mental, pero it doesn't stay there. You have to take action and action very fast, and then you continue thinking how to improve it, no? Isa na lang before I pass this on to Jay. Anong naging impact? Anong nakita mong impact sa mga tao mo nung panahon na yon na nakikita ka nila na parang hindi ka nagpapatalo, sige. So how did your people see it, and how did they feel?
Alam niyo naman, sir, marami tayong case studies ng leadership, pero iba yung case study na natin noong pandemic. Lahat tayo, meron na tayong sariling case study na hindi mababasa sa internet eh.
Yeah.
Nung sinabi ko na Viber, sabi ko, we will do a webinar. People did not say, I don't know it. No, that's not part of my job. People were asking, how can I contribute? What do you want me to do? Sige, magvo-volunteer ako dyan, no? So that was the initial effect. I think they're just waiting for a direction, and all of them will spring into action, no? So talagang napatunayan ko talaga na, sabi nga ni John Maxwell, no? Leadership, everything rises and falls based on leadership. Okay? So when I said, this is the direction, let's make it happen. I don't know how to do it. Ako magsasalita. It suddenly gave people a lot of hope.
Yeah.
Even if it's free, I know that it's free, pero yung not being able to do anything for 2 weeks, wala kaming ginagawa. It's so demotivating. Tapos lumalapit sa amin na, sir, during that time, no? Kasi free nga. Yung mga kumpanya na nagre-retrench, lumalapit sa amin. Paano daw namin mapapackage yung message, no? So we know that even if we're not getting paid, we're still accomplishing that mission of making a difference in lives of organizations. No? So buhay na buhay yung spirit, no? Mataas yung moral during that time.
Again, actually, what you said, Louis, is that because you've been thinking of a lot of new things and doing a lot of activities, na-focus yung mo, hindi sa kanila. So yung problema nila parang medyo naging mas less ang concern nila kasi ang focus nila is to do things and help others, no? And I think that also, as you've mentioned, gave them the hope and the inspiration na gaganda pa rin ito, gaganda pa rin, ano? And that kept you moving, no? So again, thanks for your sharing, Louis. Jay?
Yeah. Louis, from describing how resilience is manifested in the individual level, papunta naman tayo sa organization. How do you create ba resilience in organization? How is it being manifested sa isang organization based on your own and maybe based on your experience with the different organizations you had the chance to interact with?
I will mention the word culture.
Culture, yeah. Mhm.
And I'll go back to that story when I said magwe-webinar tayo. Walang pushback, walang resistance, that's not my job, no? And I would trace that to because in our small team, we've always been, because we're teaching culture, we're helping organizations also transform their cultures. We have to make ourselves role models, and we've been doing that years before the pandemic, no? We've been teaching team building. So I would say we need to be role models of teamwork and collaboration. We teach problem solving and creativity, innovation and leadership. And we're not perfect, but we strive to role model what we teach. Another thing is anticipation.
Okay.
So you have a strong culture where people share values, no, that will make them shine in the times of crisis. Second is anticipation. Right? And anticipation is being able to see clearly. January po na pinag-uusapan na namin to. Hindi pa masyadong siniseryoso sa mga bali-balita, pero we've been talking about it in our small company. What if this pandemic hits us hard? What will we do? So marami na rin mga nagkalat na ideas na nung nag-pandemic, people reiterated, no? So kailangan na natin to, enforce na natin to. One of my staff, one of my leaders said, sabi ko na kailangan natin ng e-learning platform. Sabi ko, make it happen. And in 1 week, she was able to launch it. Sabi ng isa, here's my suggestion on how we can make our sessions engaging. So if you're able to anticipate, people will get involved. And a leader's contribution to that one is once you set a direction, you've empowered people enough. Let them be. Let them be. Kasi sa times of crisis, the leader's effort is not alone. The leader just needs to set the tone. But in times of crisis, you need everybody's help, all hands on deck. So how can the leader ensure that and not be the major barrier to people getting empowered during crisis?
That's true, no? And you mentioned earlier also that talagang parang pinaka-priority ng most organization when the pandemic happened was really survival, no? How, based on your experience again, how does resiliency impact the organization's financial goals, such as yung income nila at saka yung revenue nila? Bakit importante talaga yung resilience sa isang organisasyon?
Well, number one, we cannot predict what will happen to us, whether you're a small or big organization. The external environment is so tumultuous. Yung VUCA nga, you would know the VUCA acronym that we've been using before, naging divukad na siya. Nalagyan na siya ng D sa simula, which is very disruptive. And since we cannot predict and anticipate what will happen to us, we can only work on things that are within our control, which is, what if this happens? What will we do? Okay? So meron ka ng, if this happens, this is what we will do with our financials. Okay? If this happens, this is what we will do with our customer base. No? If this happens, this is what will happen to our people. So it's like simulating in your minds as a team or as a company. Oh, that will not happen. It's not most likely to happen. But if it happens, how ready are we? We need to be ready. So we need to be able to practice some routines, some semblance of response to this. And as you can see, the most organizations who really thrive during the pandemic, ang daming global na nakita natin, Amazon, yung mga logistics companies. Sa Pilipinas, yung GCash.
Yeah, yes.
Diba? Unicorn na siya, diba? Talagang heralded si GCash. Si GCash is not new. has been there for the longest time.
Yes.
So they had the idea that maybe Filipinos don't want to embrace so much yet.
Mm-mm.
Kaya sinasabi ko anticipation eh.
Yeah.
Anticipate and let this just be, grow it. And when the right time happens, when the crisis happens, that great idea, because you've anticipated it, will just shine. Take a look at GCash, Shopee, and Lazada.
Lazada, no? Yung mga Grab, no? Dati-dati, kukonti lang ang nag-avail ng mga services na yon, online services. Ngayon, sila yung talagang mga nag-thrive, no? During the pandemic.
Two examples pa po, kahit yung mga restaurants yung mga restaurants na nagsara, sila yung walang capability ng delivery, saka online orders. Yung mga restaurants na mabilis nakapag-shift sa online ordering, saka delivery, it did not become a problem for them. No? So, nakasurvive, naka-adapt po kaagad sila.
Kasi nga talagang sabi mo, yung anticipation nila, so meron na silang, may plan B na kaagad sila, may plan C pa, no? When things don't really go according to the way they want it, meron talaga silang nakasalo kagad, no, na alternative, no, na solution.
Isa pang example, no? For example, I have a client, HMO. Okay? You know that people go to hospitals because people cannot go to hospitals.
Yes.
No? But inaisip nila, then let's make the services, medical services, go to the homes of the people. So nauso yung mga lab on wheels, no? Napunta yung mga testing at home. So it's really just solving the problem and doing something, teleconsult, no? The video platform has been there, but how well will you use it, no? So sa Filipino, language ng Pilipino, paano ka didiskarte?
Yeah.
Ang
Basta
mga
may
Pilipino
diskarte ka, may abilidad ka.
Correct. Paano mo didiskartehan yan? Pero mindset muna, bago mauna yung diskarte, kailangan tama ang mindset and then diskarte.
Well said.
Yeah, Louis, well, it's true that a lot of people have been able to bounce back, di ba? Pero marami pa rin yung nag-give up. Is there a limit to one's ability to bounce back?
I'd say yes. There is, but the limit is self-created. We can deepen our ability, widen, increase our ability for resilience. At yun nga po ang maganda kasi resilience is a skill. And just like any skill, a skill can be learned, expanded, honed, no? Ako naniniwala na sir, iba-iba talaga ang natin, ang levels of resilience. Pero you're not stuck with your current level of resilience. If right now you easily give up, no, you easily throw the towel or the white flag, you can in your own ways, no, with the help of mentors, coaches, no, and materials, their training, practice, you can increase your threshold.
I think very important nga in your case, you're a leader with resilience, so that actually help influence the people in your team, di ba? But are there other ways other than leading by example that can create, sabi mo nga, a culture of resilience in the organization? Meron bang iba pang paraan para talagang yung mga tao sa loob ng organisasyon become very resilient and agile?
Isa sa mga naaral ko din na techniques na ginamit ko rin sa team ko is in relation to anticipation, have regular exercise, visualization exercises. When this happens, what are we going to do? And then try it, no? Simulate it with your team. Make it part of your organizational practice. Maybe once a year, twice a year, every 6 months. Look at the challenges that we are experiencing up ahead. Is it competition? Is it new technology? No? Is it external environment? What can we do about it? No? Let's simulate how we will respond when this happens. No? Isa yun sa mga na-discover ko, sir, na pwedeng gawin as an organization.
Really preparing yourself for an eventuality that need not happen but can actually happen, di ba? Now, we talk about resilience always kasi in the context of merong crisis, may malaking problema, di ba? So, ang tanong, do you need resilience during normal or more stable times?
My definition kasi is resilience is first the ability to absorb the impact. Okay? And to answer answer your question, we don't need resiliency in ordinary times, which is why it's dangerous. If times are good, if you're succeeding, it's dangerous because it can create that individual mindset of complacency and a culture of comfort as well. So when crisis hits you hard, it will be very difficult for you to shift, no? Because of years and decades of success, no? And complacency. Ang dami na po nating ano dyan, case study, di ba? Nokia, Kodak, di ba? Even in local organizations, years of decades of success, and then something happens, no? Nag-succeed naman kami dati, no? Pero we should remember what got us to a certain point may
Yeah.
not bring us to the next 10, 15, or 20 years. No? Kaya sir, it's always good that kung masisimulate ng management team, magbibigay ng kahit hindi crisis, no, kahit imagine scenario lang, what will we do, how we will respond to this one, it keeps people up on their toes and it removes that feeling of complacency. We're successful now, but what if? What if this happens? How you answer that question hypothetically is already training your team to become.
Yeah, tama ka doon. In other words, during normal times and stable times, there are more opportunities to simulate and think of what can possibly happen and then prepare for that, di ba? And that effectively, as you mentioned, is already building your capacity to be resilient. No? Louis, obviously in your practice, you are continuously evolving. So right now, what is your focus so that you will continue to be able to thrive in the present, but at the same time, prepare yourself and your team for the future?
In terms of the training business namin, sir,
Yes. Oh.
scalability is what I'm looking at now, sir.
Hmm.
And I mentioned to you that I started recording my video lectures.
Right. Yeah.
What's the biggest benefit of that in terms of scale? The usual 2-day to full day training that I'm doing, I'm now able to do by half the time.
Oh, okay.
While I sleep, they watch my videos. Diba? That's a simple way to scale so I can do more. I can serve more.
Yes.
At kahit si Tony Robbins, the global motivation speaker,
Yeah.
he has a summit this September. And what is the business opportunity that he's talking about? E-learning. He's encouraging people all over the world to start getting your cameras, video recording your information and inspiration. Because it's now $1 billion industry, and because of this hybrid model, talagang mas tataas pa sir yung demand dito. Kaya kami sa LJMB, yan ang direction namin, sir. Less face-to-face na nga po ako ngayon, di ba? Less active income. More passive income because people will now log into our site in 2023 and watch my videos. No? So that's how the future generation will also learn. Ang mga anak po natin, di ba? Nasa YouTube, di ba?
Yeah. So it's nice to hear that you see a very bright and expanded future for your industry. No?
Pero sir, to add to
Jay?
that, there's a lot of going out of the comfort zone. May pride and ego din tayo di ba? Bakit ko i-record yung sarili ko? Kasi mas nasanay ako dito. So, you really want to become resilient, you need to eat that pride, go out of your comfort zone, embrace new ways of working. The world is changing. And just like a bamboo which is resilient, yes, the world may change. No? You may also change in position. The most important is to survive and thrive.
Thank you.
Louis, napakaganda nung key takeaway mo talaga, no, when you said yung anticipation, the need to anticipate now. Especially, as you know, ang ating audience, no, ng itong programa na to are really our agency leaders of the insurance industries na talagang alam naman natin ay who's really into the business of preparing no, and planning, no, for the future, no. So talagang yung mga takeaways na ibinigay mo sa amin about resiliency, I'm sure talagang makaka-relate, no, makaka-relate sila doon. So maraming salamat ha, Louie, dun sa iyong mga sharings on that, no, especially as a leader, no, dahil itong mga audience natin ay mga leaders like you. Now, iwanan muna natin yon at puntahan muna natin itong iyong award as the top leader, no, of LinkedIn for resilience, no. At base nga sa kwento mo, there's no doubt that you really deserve, no, that award. Pero ang question ko, Louie, is there a pressure? Is there an expectation, no, either from the organizer or self-imposed expectations for winning that award?
Unang-una, na-pressure po ba ako? Ang dating po sa akin, importante yung award. It's really a big thing to me, especially in LinkedIn. I did not imagine that out of the so many hundreds of nominees,
150. There were 150 individual nominees.
tapos 30 lang yung pipiliin, no? Tapos
Tapos
there are
top
other
1.
high ranking, no? O tapos top 1 po sa resiliency. Ang tinignan ko na lang ay this is really a validation of what me and my team. I couldn't have done it without my team. So they're always part of this one. It's a validation. Nape-pressure po ba ako? Hindi naman. Ang iniisip ko nga mahirap na uling ma-nominate for resiliency. Ano yun, manghihiling ako ng isa pang crisis? Wag naman. Susunod kong pressure ay siguro paano naman tayo ma-recognize for the other traits, no? Pero ito po yung mapapangako ko. Sabi ko nga, since napili tayong top leader for resiliency, isusulat ko na lang sa libro yung aking experience in the last 2.5 years. Total, meron tayong ganitong award, di gumawa na lang ako ng lessons from crisis, no? How to become more resilient individuals, leaders, and organizations, no? Very timely po dahil ngayon taon ako na-awardan, dapat ma-release natin to ng end of this year.
Yeah. Okay. So meron kang September, October, November, December. You have 4 months, no?
Doon ako nape-pressure.
Oo, doon ka nape-pressure. Oo, so magdadagdag na kami sa pressure sa iyo. We're going to look forward, no, to that release ng iyong book, no. And I'm sure maraming matututunan ang mga readers natin, no, leaders and readers natin sa libro mo na yan. Louie, aside from writing that book, how else do you intend to to continue living out or to elevate, no, itong recognition na nakuha mo?
For the past 2 years, I've really been on LinkedIn on a daily basis, posting what I teach in my workshops, posting my daily experiences. I will just have to continue that, no. Doon muna po ako magfo-focus, no. So, yung aking presence sa LinkedIn. Itong libro na to, unang libro ko, is already a big challenge, no. So I'll focus first on this one and then isipin natin on how what else can we do to reach more people, no, and enable them to also be more resilient. I'll probably focus as well on my workshops, no, making sure that everybody who attends will whatever the course that they get from us, may halong resilience, no, dapat ang kanilang matututunan.
Okay, so again, we're going to look forward, no, to that launching of your book, no, and again, congratulations, Louie, for winning that LinkedIn Top Award, no, Top Leader for Resilience, and good luck, no, to the rest of your team. Sana ay mas marami pa kayong matouch, no, ng mga organisasyon at mga individuals, no, not only through your mga libreng webinars, no, at mga training classes, but really on yung inyong personal, no, yung personal manifestations, no, ng itong mga leadership traits na to. So maraming salamat ulit, Louie.
Maraming salamat po for having me here. It's really such an honor to be with you in Leaders in Action.
Louie, siguro just a final request or question to you, no. You have inspired us for your example of resilience. But can you name one other leadership trait that you also hold dearly and helps you in managing your team?
that is not related to resilience because the others could be related. Ang naiisip ko dyan sa IB, being inclusive.
Mm.
Kasi yung ibang naisip ko, pwede mong ma-relate sa resilience eh. Ako kasi ay panganay sa pamilya at na ano tayo eh. I'm with a big family, so tayo yung napalaki na laging titignan ang mga kapatid, no? At nung nagkaroon na ng mga anak ang mga kapatid, it's always trying to see that every person is part of, included, invited, no? So that also affected by leadership style in the team, no? Yung mga simpleng bagay na, lalo na nung malaking team kami, hinahanap ko talaga, nandito ba nasan si ganito? O bakit wala dito? Bakit hindi kumakain? Ano? So I always prioritizing people na bago ka kumain, no? Labi nga ni Simon Sinek, Leaders Eat Last, no? Making sure that everybody else has a seat on the table. Ang maganda po palang effect nun, nung inclusion, especially sa panahon ngayon, when people feel that they belong, it has a positive impact on retention and engagement, no? And people are more willing to contribute in company. So sir, sa akin, after resilience, bilang Louie Banta, ako talaga yung ayoko nung may gagawin kung hindi lahat kasama. Ayoko nung ako lang, gusto ko team, gusto ko group. I want to include people.
I like what you're saying, no? Parang talagang walang maiiwanan, ano. Again, Louie, maraming salamat for your genuine sharing and your inspiring journey, no? To sustain one's energy and the passion to actually perform under pressure. So we wish you all the best, and of course your team, no? LJMB, no? And God bless you and your team always.
Salamat sir, more power to your show as well.
Yes, salamat ulit, Louie. And thanks again, everyone, for joining us tonight. For those of you who are interested to connect with Louie for his training and consulting services, we will flash his contact details towards the end of the program, so you can contact him. Okay, leaders, we do invite you to join us again next week for another interesting conversation with our guest, Miss Daisy Calianta, the CEO of Hugs Ministries and LinkedIn's top leader for integrity.
Leaders, we will see you again next Thursday, September 22 at 8 p.m. here in Leaders in Action.
Real leaders.
Real stories.
And real talk.
Bye, everybody. Thanks. Thank you again, Louie.
Thanks for having me here. Salamat po.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.